Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about emotions, a little bit about what they are, but more importantly, are emotions good or bad? Emotions. So what are they? I mean, we're emotional beings and we feel emotions all of the time. But what exactly are emotions? Well, we know this, that everything in this world is made up of energy. So emotions are energy, but one way of describing emotion is that emotions are energy in motion. And so emotions are it's energy that we feel that comes through our body and is meant to process through. But oftentimes emotions get stuck because we don't know what to do with them. We don't know how to process them, or we try to avoid them and not experience them, shut them down, ignore them. And why would we do that? I think that has to do with our beliefs. So, do we believe that emotions are good or bad? Well, what if they're neither? What if emotions just are? But we get to decide whether they're good or bad. So think about that in life. Everything in life is determined by the thoughts and beliefs that we attach to it, other than absolute truth. So absolute truth exists. Doesn't matter whether we understand it, believe it, or agree with it. But everything else, we get to decide the meaning that we attach to that. So emotions just are. Emotions are energy. Well, where do emotions come from? And this may help us understand a little bit better about why we might think that emotions are good or bad. Oftentimes we think that emotions come from the events or circumstances that occur in our life. So we oftentimes think that the equation for emotions, so what creates emotions is that there is a trigger or an event, and that trigger equals the emotion. But if this was true, then what this would mean is that when there are more than one person in any circumstance or situation, and we all experience the same trigger, the same event, then if this equals that, then we would all experience the same emotion. Well, think about this, because it doesn't take long to recognize and realize that this equation isn't true, because people all of the time experience the same situation, and one person may find it funny, another person may find it sad or disappointing, another person may feel anxious or fearful as a result of that. So this equation is incorrect. Well, what's the correct equation? The correct equation is that we have a trigger or an activating event. Actually, I'm going to change it. Makes better sense. So we're going to call it an antecedent instead of a trigger. So antecedent just means what comes first. So the antecedent plus our thoughts about the antecedent equal our emotion. So if you look at this equation, then emotions come from where? Not from our circumstances or situation, but our emotions come from our thoughts about the antecedent or the event. So then, what's in control of our emotions? Is it these external things that are happening to us and around us, or is it our thoughts about that? So let's go back to, again, some of our foundational principles. And again, a principle is a law, like the law of gravity. So it's a law, something that operates and exists, whether we know about it, whether we understand it, whether we agree with it. So one of the principles is the principle of control. And we know that there are only three things that we can control: our conscious thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors. So we control our emotions by controlling our thoughts. Now, we can't control every thought that comes in to our head, because random thoughts pop in all the time. But we can control which ones we give energy to, or which ones we focus on. And so here's what happens, though, sometimes. Just as we get conditioned in life to do most of the things that we do throughout our day. For example, do you have to think about how to get out of bed in the morning? Or do you just get out of bed? Do you have to think about how to brush your teeth? Or do you just brush your teeth? Do you have to think about, after you put food in your mouth, how to chew it and swallow it? No, all of those things we are conditioned. And so we have things that happen in our life and we just respond. And when we do that, if you remember just the simple drawing of the brain, so we have the conscious and the subconscious. The subconscious is autopilot. So these are things that we've learned, that we've been conditioned to do throughout our life. And as we've done them over and over and over, we no longer have to consciously think about it. And 90% of our time, 90% of our day, we're here in the subconscious. So just as we're conditioned to respond behaviorally to things, we get conditioned on how to respond emotionally. So maybe as a young child, I am conditioned that whenever somebody says something mean to me or makes fun of me, then I feel angry because that's not right. And maybe I've learned that when I get angry and upset and really get mad at this person, then they quit being mean to me. They leave me alone. So that works for me. Well, after I've done that many times, I no longer have to think about it. As soon as somebody says something mean to me over here, so that's the antecedent. As soon as they say something mean, it appears as if I jump right to the emotion, because it happens so quickly that I'm not aware of the thought that's happening here. Well, here's what's happened. So let's say that the emotion that I've learned to use when somebody makes fun of me is anger. And for a long time in my life, being angry works, because when I get angry at the person, then they back off, they leave me alone, they quit bothering me. But, so then it would look like anger is okay. But now let's say I get older, and as I get angry, now I start getting more physically aggressive. And so I start getting in fights with people and hitting people. And now I've gotten in trouble a couple of times. Maybe I've gotten suspended from school. And as I get older, maybe I get a couple of arrests for assault and those kinds of charges. And so all of a sudden, it looks like this anger is an emotion that's bad, because it seems to be creating poor or bad outcomes in my life. Well, the truth is, it's not the anger. The anger is just an emotion. But it's my belief, again, about this and what to do with the anger that is driving my behavior and creating the outcome. So I could change my behavioral response to when I feel angry. I could get to a place where I could do a couple of things. One, I could decide that I don't want to get angry anymore because it is no longer serving any purpose for me. And if I no longer want to get angry, then what is it that needs to change? I need to change my thoughts and my beliefs about the things in my life that have been making me angry. And as soon as I begin to see those things differently, change my thinking, change my beliefs, I can get rid of and eliminate this anger. But let's say it's an emotion that I don't want to get rid of. Maybe I want to hang on to being angry. I just don't want the behavior and I don't want the outcomes anymore. Well, I can still choose to be angry, but then choose to respond to it in a different way. And to accept responsibility, understanding that I'm choosing to be angry. The person isn't making me angry, it's a choice that I'm making. And then I can look at, okay, well, why do I want to be angry? And I can ask myself, how long do I want to be angry? So maybe I want to be angry for 5 minutes and then I want to let it go. Or maybe I want to be angry for 30 seconds and let it go. Or maybe I want to stay angry for a day. But then when I'm done being angry, I have the power to let it go, and I'm no longer blaming someone or something else. As long as I'm blaming someone else, I'm putting myself in bondage and I'm keeping myself stuck. So, are emotions good or bad? The truth is they're neither. Emotions just are. Emotions are responses to events and things that go on in our life. And in another sense, emotions are feedback to us. So if we're feeling or experiencing a, quote, negative emotion, then we can look at that and ask ourselves, why? So why do we want to feel that emotion? What is the payoff that we're getting from it? And if we don't want to feel that emotion, if we would rather be feeling peace, love, happiness, excitement, well, how can we choose those emotions and then choose other behaviors that will give us the outcome or the payoff that the old behaviors were giving us? Then we can have the same outcome without the negative side effects to that behavior. So again, emotions, not good or bad, they just are. We get to choose which emotions we want to feel. If there are emotions that we don't want to feel, we can let them go. We can change our thinking and replace them with other emotions that we would rather feel. So if you want to experience and feel more happiness in your life, it's totally within your control. It doesn't matter what your circumstances or situation is, you can choose to be happy in this moment right now. And in fact, until we can learn to be totally and completely happy right now with things exactly the way that they are, we'll never be totally and completely happy. Because whatever it is that's causing our unhappiness now, when that gets taken care of, we'll just find something else. And when that gets taken care of, we'll find something else. So my challenge to you is, if you want more happiness in your life, make a decision to be happy. Take control of your thoughts. Become more aware of your thoughts and the non-working thoughts. Replace the non-working ones with those that will give you the emotion and outcomes that you want. Go out and change your life. Thanks for watching again today. I hope that this has helped you if emotions is something that you have struggled with in your life. And if you try this and have some positive results, share those with us. If you have other things that are not working or you're struggling with in your life that you would like help with, then comment on that or post that below, and we'll do some videos in the future that will address the things that you may be struggling with. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and if you want to know more, visit our website. That's down below as well.